This is a Grande Pacific production.
This video we're going to make today is going to be on bottle brush tree making. We're going to be using the McKenzie Brothers tree making machine. The particular machine I'm going to use, I noticed on their website is not offered. They have a standard machine which has got metal frames and a powered machine. These are some examples here of some of the trees that have been made, and we'll take you through the process on making this type of a tree for your layout.
We'll start with the wire we're using to do this. Since I was not the purchaser of the machine, I'm just a user. The person who bought the machine went out and acquired some of the wire. This is a substantial amount of wire. From what he's into the 600 tree level, and he said you can make a ton of trees with one of these spools of wire. This is 41 gauge wire. It's 1 pound. Doesn't give a foot length, but it isn't anything special. It isn't galvanized, whatever. It's not stainless steel. It's just good. I would classify this as just nothing but good old baling wire. Believe me, your hands get quite dirty fooling with it. This spool will go a long way to making trees. So that's one of the products you will need. Now, the next thing you're going to need is some hemp rope. This was purchased at Lowe's. This is 5/8 of an inch hemp rope, and it's I think it was 58 or 59 cents a foot. I bought 10 feet. The first thing I'm going to tell you is you need a good, comfortable place to work. This is not going to be a short task. If you're going to do this and get at it for a while, make sure you have a nice, comfortable chair to sit in. We have a little bit of music in here. I've got a TV set behind me if I want to turn on and listen to a ball game or whatever. Trash can and all the necessary tools. We already went over the wire and the PVC cutter. You need a good set of dikes. Believe me, anything cheap is not going to work. You're going to need something because you got to cut that wire, and you're cutting two pieces at the same time. So, and it is a little hard wire. You're going to need a pair of scissors with some pointy edges to trim the trees. You're going to need a hair comb to comb out the rope. You're going to need a method to flock the trees. This, you're going to see me do mine, but believe me, we got 3 people using the machine. There's 3 different ways that it's being done. So how you use to put the foam on the flock is strictly your choice. But this is a large can of some snack food or something. I got even bigger ones in this. You put the flock in there, put the tree in, and shake it up, and you got a flock tree. We'll demonstrate that too. You're going to need something to stick your trees in as you go. You can see there's some trees finished right there sticking in foam. You're going to need Rave, or I use Rave because that was the cheapest hairspray at Walmart. It doesn't make any what brand it is, just the cheaper the better in this case because it's sticky. And then right next to it is just a can of camouflage. You can get olive green paint. This is camouflage paint. You will see exactly where this comes into play. One of the biggest variances here, and we have a friend of mine in Baton Rouge made up a whole board with the different types of foam, and there must have been 30 choices in colors on there. And that's in this particular case, these are Woodland Scenics, and it's these are the medium green, light green. Most of it's light green. I think I had about 4 bags of light green in the can when I started, and 1 dark green. This is going to be the area which you're going to have to make your choice. I haven't done any of these yet. I think I have some more bags of this. This was just a test. This is not a very big bag, and I will be real out front and say that there are some options out there from other suppliers, Scenic Express, and a couple other ones that have large volume bags. If you're going to get into this, that's what you're going to want to get your hands on. We were just playing around here the other night with colors, and I picked up on these 3 small bags to play with something else. Now, like I said, this is going to be the area which you're going to have to make your choice. The perspective, I use a book, so let's get on to that aspect. This is my quote-unquote Bible. There's 2 books here, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And it has pictures of everything in Colorado and everything Rio Grande. This is not the Rio Grande Railroad. This is the Grande Pacific. But since we go across Colorado, and we did inherit some of the trackage rights that were the old Rio Grande before the FRA broke up the UP, we surely want to make the scenery correct. But I'm dead serious. It's just, and I'm laughing all the way through. You get into looking for colors for trees. This is kind of gives you some really good indications of what you want to do. Also, when you're getting into painting scenery backdrops, this is invaluable as to what you want to kind of try to copy or create. So whatever you're doing, I always turn to these pages and look for colors and try to match them, because I have a color issue called red pigmentosis, or I get other opinions as I'm going along. So have a source to make things come out the way you think they ought to. Okay, so now we're into making trees, and this is your 5/8 inch hemp rope, and you're going to cut it. Very effective tool for cutting. You say, how much should I cut? Well, the base of the tree. So if you're going to make a big wider tree, maybe you want to make it that wide. I don't think so, but anyway, HO scale probably. This is something you'll get the feel of. So you take your PVC cutting tool, and it cuts the rope perfectly. So we'll get rid of the rope. So now you have hemp rope in pieces and sections. What you want to do now is you want to break this up. And I'm going to tell you what I do is work with about 3 sections at a time. You want to take the twist out in about 3 sections, like so. And you keep getting the twist out. You got it to where it's fairly broken up. And then you want to take your pocket comb. Would be best if you find one of these in metal, but a good stiff one works good. I'll give you an example. This is too flexible. It'll work, but you can already see what's happened to the teeth. So a good stiff pocket comb to comb out all of the stuff that's going to stop your strands of hemp rope from spreading out. So once you got it all done, then that goes in the trash can. So you have your hemp rope in a bundle. So we'll stop right there as far as that part's concerned. I usually make up a bunch of them at one time, and I have enough to do the tree. So the next step is getting ready to make a tree. You have 2 wires.
you have two wires that you need to pull through to the other side. Bottom one, top. Always start with the bottom. First thing you do, and we assume you just finished making a tree, so we're starting on the next tree. These are your clutches. These particular devices are made in wood, so you want to keep rotating these around so you don't end up with a groove set to it. Find it easy if you grab the wire and pull it across like so. You pass it through the hole. That's the bottom one. On the other side, you bend it up a little bit so it doesn't go anywhere. Then you pull the top one across. You stick it through the hole. Okay. So now you bend it over like so, and you tighten the clamp down. Now, little test here, you want to pull on each one of the wires to make sure that they're good and well clamped. Now, you want to come to the other side, and in the little metal slot here, you want to make sure that the bottom wire is on first. You grab a hold of the spool, turn it back until it's taut, and then you tighten your clutch down. Then you put the top one in, turn it back, tighten your clutch down. So now we have two pieces of wire, top and bottom, on this spool. Now this is where the building the thing trays. I work this to where the bottom of the tree is on this side. The tops are on this side because we're going to make more than one tree at a time. So I stick my stuff, and we'll make these some pretty good sized trees. So this is the first tree. So we're going to spread this out. Now you can have different size, different lengths of hemp rope in here to represent bottom, top, and all that. At 59 cents a foot, people, it's not worth keeping up with, believe me. You just want to make sure you got enough to cover whatever you want the base of the tree, because we're going to trim all this as we go along. Okay, so here's our first one, first tree. It's all laid out. Now, you have to use something to stop this end of the wire from twisting. And we want to get the top wire in. Now it's got a little slot in it, and that's going to be the top of the tree. Okay, so now you take the crank at the end and you twist this. Now, you can twist this to the point where the wire will break. Again, time will tell. This happens to have a wooden base on it, and I have noticed that you basically get to the point where it starts closing together. I noticed the new machines have metal frames. Okay, so you can see if you get in real close here how tight those twists are. So this tree is now twisted. Okay, so we're going to add to this, and we're going to make another tree at the same time. This will be a two-tree operation. I make them four. I don't have anything. I made one big tall one so far, which was about 3/4 of the way. Now, how much hemp rope to put in and all that? You see what I'm doing? This is one of them things. You'll get yours all figured out real quick. A little play with and experimentation will get you into steadfast real quick. Now, want to leave a distance in here because this right here is the bottom of the next tree. Now, I'm not going to show you putting any type of trunks on trees, but you can leave a long piece of wire and start working trunks on. One of the guys at our club took dowels, put the dowels on there, and then drill holes, put the dowels on it. Then he put glue on the dowels and added regular old sawdust, and then he stained it, and I was quite impressed with the fact that it looked like a real tree trunk. My trees are all going right now where I don't need trunks. They're going to go into the ground. So now we're set for the next tree. Now I don't have to hold this in. This will act as the twist point. So all I have to do is get a hold of the handle and twist it. And as you can see, as we twist it, it fans all those little pieces of hemp rope out by the natural squeezing and twisting. Okay, so now you have two trees. The next part's important. You gotta cut it off the rack. Now, gotta have a good pair of dikes. Something that's got some hard metal, and you just can't use small little dikes to do this. You're gonna need something that cut through both pieces of the wire at the same time. And you'll watch this whole thing on spring as I cut it. So we cut one off, and that's the bottom, so this is the top, and then this is the top on the other one. Now, getting ready for the next one, we don't need those little twisty wires there, so I'll take those off and make sure they go in the trash can. Okay, so now we have a full-grown tree. Not a very good-looking conifer. So then we take the conifer and we're going to trim it. This is where we have trash can available. So you just take it and get creative here. And now, I have a friend, and I'm going to do one thing with the other one before we get finished here. Anyway, so you got the drift on this. Okay, so there's a nice, and I'll hold it here so you can get a good view of it. This is a good example. Now you could make it a little narrower at the top. You can do your own thing, but that comes under your artist license. You can be any artist you want. One other thing that you can do, taking the other tree, which a friend of mine does, is you can take a couple of these pieces at the top, like so, twist them together. Now he does this for two reasons. He puts a little CA glue on it. Sorry about this. And right here, when you twist it, he puts CA glue on it, then he trims it. But that gives him a place to hold the tree. He does, as I said, he's got a little bit different flocking method than I do. So anyway, we're going to trim this one up. We'll trim this down a little bit, and we'll have another tree here. So scissors are important. You got to have something with a straight edge. Just the longer the better. A nice set of stainless steel hair trimming scissors works real good. I can tell you, he had the person who taught me about this thing has those, but these work good. Just make sure cutting this hemp rope it's not, you need good cutting scissors to cut this like this. Okay, so now we have another tree. Okay, not everything's perfect. So you have just seen us make two trees real quickly, and one of the things I said you need is you need something to hold your trees with, and that's piece of styrofoam works real well. So the next step
we go through on this process is outside because we're going to spray. But as you can see, we have got a bunch of rope cut. We have piles of stuff ready. So it's a kind of a process step. Works for you in assembly process. If you're a club, you may want to have 3 or 4 people sitting around doing this in a mass production. I've done 38 trees so far, and frankly, it's hard to tell where they went to. The gentleman I got this from was up past 600 trees, and he's doing an ON3 layout, and you could see the trees, but then again you look around at how much more he's got to do and you say, gee whiz. So effective machine, effective looking trees. So we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now my cameraman has made out the astute observation. These trees look like they just went through the California fire. Okay, enough with that. Shall we say the Colorado fire last year. All right, so this is camouflage paint. You got to do this or it won't look right, and I can show you a picture of one that I forgot to do it on. So you're just going to spray the whole tree. And you're going to cover it from top to bottom, trying to get pretty consistent coverage. Doesn't hurt to do it this way either. We move outside because, needless to say, unless you got something set up for a spray booth or something, you don't want to do this inside. Okay? So now we're going to flock the trees. I have a football snack mix. No telling what it was. Anyway, nice big jar. There are even bigger ones. This one's pretty full. I've just added a whole bunch of new woodland scenic course stuff. I showed you that earlier in the video. You can make your own choices on your own colors, and you can flock it any way you want to flock it. Okay? So the next step here is simply to take a can of cheap hairspray. Cheaper, the better. You can ask your wife which about cheap hair, or girlfriend, about cheap hairspray from back in the day. So then you're going to take this and you're going to spray this tree with hairspray. And you're going to get it good and soaked. And before the tree can dry, you want to stick it in the flocking machine here. And you want to flock it. Okay. So, now we have one each tree. That's too much on there. So you just give it a little spin. Faster you spin, the more comes off. Okay? So, for my standards, that's about as good as I want to get. If you got a spot which you think you need to get some in, you can just add it in. And if you want to, you can come back later and spray this again. And do it, reflock it. But that works pretty good for me right there. Now, take a smaller one. And you want to take it, spray it. Get it good and covered. Drop it in. In this case, we don't need to put the cover back on because it's a pretty small tree. We sit here and force the block in between the branches. Spin it. We bent the branch. Let's spin it a little bit. And we get some of the excess off. Now, you see on this one, you got some branches sticking out that didn't have much on it. This is easy to take care of, particularly when you get ready to let this thing dry, and then you can trim some of that off if that's necessary. But that basically finishes the tree. Don't try to rush and put them up right now. Believe me, you want to let them dry for a couple hours until allow as much of this to stick as you can. So now we have made some bottle brush trees, conifer design, I guess, and we'll finish up the rest of these and meet you back inside.